Welcome to Team Bandit Gang's Beginner's Guide to Gwent. We know there are a lot of beginner series out there, but we are going to take you through from day one what to do after the tutorial. We're going to walk you through factions. We're going to walk you through how to build a deck and how to play a game at the highest of levels. So today in our first episode, we're going to jump in and literally talk to you about the basic steps right after the tutorial. Our next episode will describe the different factions and how to deck build for them. So be sure to hit the subscribe button below to not miss out on our next video. Let's jump into the game. So we've completed the tutorial and you are left with this menu screen right in front of you. You might be a little bit overwhelmed. There's a lot of buttons, there's a lot of things to click, and there is not necessarily a whole lot of explanation. In the top left, you'll have access to your profile, your rank, your contracts, etc. Top right is going to give you access to the resources and the shop. The bottom left will have things like the reward book, your friends menu, and more. But right in front of you, you're going to see the different types of games you can play. When you first click on the games menu, you're going to have access to the standard mode. You're going to see what season we are currently in, as well as how many days left. You're going to see your current rank, which can vary from rank 30 right down to pro rank, which will show as a 0. You will also see how many days you have left to achieve that pro rank, as well as how many games until you get to the next level. You're going to need to complete 5 games, 5 wins. The 6th one will move you forward. Typically, a loss will take you back 1 step, while a win can move you forward 1 or even more, depending on win streak bonuses. At the end of every season, you're going to drop 3 ranks, but you will also gain rewards, mainly in the form of reward points or keys, depending on how high a rank you fall. Once you finally reach rank 7, you will also have access to a second mode, which is casual. So if you uncheck the ranked box, you will be able to play in a friendly game versus other opponents as opposed to constantly climbing the ladder. Keep in mind, when you are playing in casual, you can be matched up against anybody, somebody who is brand new to the game or somebody who is a seasoned pro. Keep that in mind, that while you're on ladder, you will only be up against other individuals at the same rank as you. Once you move on to pro rank, you will need to go ahead and agree to pro rank regulations in the options setting. But once you compete in pro rank, if you are able to achieve the top 64 on the ladder, the top 16, you will have the ability to play in Gwent Masters qualifiers, opens, and the Masters themselves, where you can win real money. We'll go into more detail about this down the line, but just keep in mind that that is where you want to be if you're looking to compete at the highest of levels. Another option you will have is seasonal. So that would be the second game mode that you see here. Seasonal will have different modes, different rules, changing very, very regularly. In the past, it has sometimes been every month, sometimes every week. So keep your eyes open, as these will change regularly. We will have Bandit Gang articles that will highlight every different seasonal mode. You can find a link to that down below. You do need to be level 10 to play seasonal. Now I know this is getting confusing, not rank 10, but level 10, which you'll see in the top left corner. So you'll need to play a few games, gather a few rewards, and then you will be good to go. The last game mode is training. Now that is just practicing against AI, so that can be useful when you're learning a new deck. That can be useful if you're just trying to mess around with a new mixture of cards. You've got a lot of versatility, and you can do this on your own against the AI, so there is no pressure to feel the need to win. You also have access to the cosmetics screen. Now, that's just located down below, where you can customize your coin, your board, your leader, and your card back. These will be acquired through different things, through different contracts. You can complete that through Journey. There are different ways to achieve this, as well as looking in the store and spending real cash dollars on these items. These will be located right around where you select your deck. You also have the option to play Draft. Now, Draft is currently in early access. It is being changed, but you can typically play it in the same way you would play most arena or draft modes in other games, where you'll select a variety of cards from different factions of different strengths, and you'll cobble those together to make your own deck and go up against your opponents. Right now, there's actually no cost to enter, but there are also no rewards at the end, so it really is an early beta. Let's jump in next up to the board and the board layout. So once you're in the game, you're going to see the board. I know you've touched on this in the tutorial, so we'll jump ahead and just quickly recap this. Both players have access to 2 rows, the melee and the ranged row, each having a capacity of 9 cards that will fully fill up this row. You can see how many points you have on the right side as a total. If you click on that point total, you'll be able to open up and see exactly how many points are on each row. You've got a leader as well as your counter and your avatar on the left side, and you have emotes down next to your name. That little speech bubble will give you a variety of different emotes. You also have 2 different coins, so that coin flipped at the beginning of the game. If you are on blue coin, you are going first. If you are on red coin, you are going second. In Gwent, unlike many other games, going second is actually beneficial. So you're going to get a bonus for going first. You're going to get a stratagem, which you can select in the deck builder. Now that's going to give you an extra bonus, a few extra points for that first round to make sure you're able to compete. What other card types are there, you may ask? You have likely seen units, specials, and artifacts. No, not that artifact cards. So where do I go and get these cards? You're going to jump into the deck builder to do so. Let's take a quick look and show you how you would build a deck. Now on the left side, you're going to see your deck. On the right side, you'll have all your filters and the cards will be in front of you. You're going to start with 5 starter decks, 1 for each faction. Don't forget that you will have access to a 6th faction. You'll have access to Syndicate. However, it was not created at the beginning of the game, and therefore there is no starter deck for it just yet. Let's jump into a deck. So to build out your deck properly, you're going to need 13 units, a minimum of 25 cards in your deck, and your leader provisions. You'll have 150 provisions plus whichever leaders you select. That means you will need at least 13 units, 25 cards, and a maximum of a certain number of provisions. Based on your deck and your construction of it, will play within these 3 realms. As mentioned before, our next video will touch a little bit more on deck building, so we will give you some more details there. Obviously, getting more resources and building out your collection is very important. That is why milling cards that don't matter to you is going to be a great way for you to recoup resources. There is a button at the top just below the deck builder title that will allow you to choose your mill settings. You have 3 different settings, one being resource focused, one being standard, and premium focused. When you start the game, we highly recommend you click on resource focused. That will mill any extra copies of the card you can't use. It doesn't matter if they're premium or not. Whereas standard will try and collect basically a full collection of both premium and non, and premium focused will allow you to keep extra cards to premium them later. How else can you build your collection? Well, you have a variety of different ways. Now, the simplest way is focusing on resources. You've got a few different resources. The main one is ore. So you are going to be using ore to actually buy kegs. 100 ore equals 1 keg. And that will give you the ability to purchase a variety of different kegs. You can buy an ultimate keg, which will include all the cards in the entire game. You can buy faction kegs, will allow you to select a specific faction and only get cards from that faction. A great way to start the game and start your collection is to decide on one faction and build up your collection within it. This will allow you to build more powerful decks and allow you to compete at a higher level, gathering more resources and allowing you to continue to build out your collection. The set kegs are going to be based on only the most recent expansion. Once a new expansion comes out, those set kegs are retired and become part of the Ultimate Keg program. Now, once you have additional copies of cards, you can scrap those cards, and those scraps will be able to build you new copies. So the prices come out to 30, 80, 200, or 800 scraps depending on the rarity of the card, and scrapping a card will actually give you back half of those resources. So it is obviously encouraged to try and pull those cards from kegs, as spending actual resources or scraps on it can be very expensive. Next up, you're going to have powder. Powder is something that is literally just a cosmetic. Don't worry too much about it to start. You can get it through scrapping a premium card. You can also get it by spending actual dollars on it or through the reward trees we will show you in a moment. There are also other ways to do it through GGs, for example. So GGing a player after a game will give them a certain type of resource and you will receive as well should they GG you. The last resource are keys. Now these keys are reward points, will allow you to jump into the reward book, the reward trees, the coloring book, if you will, and allow you to select different nodes that will give you resources. We're going to jump in and give you a ton more information about that because there are ideal ways of going through it. But before we get there, let's talk about earning more resources in another manner. Let's talk about contracts. Contracts are kind of like achievements in different games. Basically, there's something you got to do and you get something for it. So you can, for example, at the beginning of the game, the 5 easiest contracts, you've got rewarding endeavor. So basically, once you spend 1 reward point, you get 9 more. So you get to jump back in that coloring book and spend more. Try it, they said. You play 1 online match, you get 1 reward point, 5 matches, 2 reward points, etc. So that's 2 of the easiest 5. Table manners, only just the beginning. Oh, look, a keg are your next 3. If you complete those 5, you play 10 games. You send a GG every time, you should get 5 reward points. So now you've got 10 as you start with 5. You spend 1 on 1 node, and then you get 18 keys. So that's going to give you a huge amount of resources to start the game with. If you want to keep tabs on certain contracts, you want to be able to complete them, you know it's something you want to focus on, you can actually track up to 5 contracts. So you can focus on those. Playing certain decks or completing certain actions will get you more, but that's just an easy way to go ahead and track them on your main page. Once we jump into the reward trees, we'll actually link a document down below as well. It's going to show you the easiest way to go through and build out your collection. Now, a few quick tips that you'll also find in this document. 1, try to avoid spending reward points on scraps, as scraps are not necessarily the most efficient way to get cards. Spending reward points on the 3 ore nodes are actually the most rewarding, as well as story nodes, which look like little scrolls. The more of these scrolls you unlock, the more ore you get, the more kegs you buy, and that's really the way you want to continue to build out your collection. Oftentimes in these trees as well, you'll have the choice of going down a path that will give you more ore or a path that will give you more powder. You don't need meteorite powder to collect cards. That is really just for premium's sake. So maybe avoid going that direction if you are looking to just build out your collection. Now, there aren't extremely huge differences between trees, but you absolutely have some that are a little bit more beneficial than others. For example, the Eridan tree is probably the best option to start. You've got a red and a green path. Those will get you 17 points, or cost you 17 points, and give you 900 ore. You've got different trees on this screen, so you've got expansion trees, faction trees. Those trees stay forever. The seasonal trees, however, rotate per season. Remember when we talked about the rank points, or your rank at the beginning of the game? Those seasonal trees will actually go away. Remember when we talked about playing a competitive game at the beginning of this video and it showed you the different seasons? Well, those different seasons will all have 3 different trees right in front of you here. So if you're going to be spending on those, keep in mind they will go away. They come back yearly during every, for example, season of the elf. You're going to have access to a variety of different things. You can get ore, scraps, kegs, powder, cosmetics, and even cards in these nodes. So keep an eye out, figure out what direction you want to go. Again, focusing on one faction is often a great way to do it. Now, if you gain the rewards we told you about, if you spend them the way we told you to, you're going to end up with 1100 ore for your first 11 kegs. Now, that is huge. How do you spend your dollars, your ore, on those kegs? Well, let's jump into the shop and let's go visit Shoop. So Shoop is your merchant extraordinaire who will be sharing his kegs with you for a cost. Now, first you see card kegs. This is how you're going to open these kegs. You will spend ore or spend real dollars and get ultimate kegs, faction kegs, or specific expansion kegs. Meteorite powder is secondary, so that will again just give you premium cards. You can only spend real dollars in this category. Ornaments are purely cosmetic. You can get updated boards, card backs, avatars, titles, etc. Sometimes that is in return for real money. Sometimes it is for powder, so you can get things for free as well. Packs. Now, these packs are going to give you different things. You can get cosmetics, for example. You've got a faction pack, so that will give you kegs based on specific factions. You've got the ultimate starter pack. Now, this is actually quite a good value. 1 keg comes out to being about 0.9 euros, whereas in the faction pack, it comes out to about 1.2. However, the best way, if you're going to spend any money on this game, go with the starter pack. This is going to give you the best rate of return. You're going to get a premium legendary, you're going to get kegs, you're going to get powder. So this is definitely the most efficient way of spending your dollars if you do want to spend a couple bucks on the game. You also have the option to actually purchase Thronebreaker, which is a standalone game, but simply purchasing, which is often on sale, I wouldn't say spend regular price, look at getting it 50% off, and you'll be able to actually get quite a few cards. And if you actually play the game, you can unlock premiums, reward points, and more. So definitely something you look into if you enjoy Gwent. Now, that being said, we've pretty much touched on most things. There is going to be quite a bit for you to do. Go look at those contracts, different ways of earning reward points. Go look at the reward book. These are the best ways you're going to be able to go out there and gather further resources. Finally, something else you're going to be able to do is go in and purchase the Premium Journey Pass. The one Christo has an excellent video talking about are journeys worth it. We'll link that in the description below as well. But for your dollars, if you want to spend some money on this game, the Premium Journey is often worth it, giving you a ton of resources. You'll see the journey screen on the homepage as well. You can dig in and dive into more detail there. You also, again, potentially want to spend on that starter pack. Those are the two best ways of going about spending real dollars to earn in-game resources. Keep in mind, however, Gwent is very, very, very rewarding, very free-to-play friendly, so don't feel the need to spend any money on this game. You can grind very easily to getting a full collection and being able to build stronger and stronger decks. Speaking of building decks and knowing what direction you want to go, we're going to have our next video coming out shortly, which will highlight the different styles of play for each faction and how you go and build a deck around them. Until then, if you have any additional questions, please jump into the Team Bandit Gang Discord. A link will be in the description, and everybody there will be happy to help the newest of Gwent players. Thank you for taking the time. Best of luck out there in your first few games, and we will see you all soon once again on the Team Bandit Gang YouTube channel.
And we're doing another giveaway for a subscription to the Bandit Gang YouTube channel, and the winner is... Oh, exciting! Woo! The winner is... It's you! Woohoo! You just activated subscription down below. Congrats!